All right, in this video, I want to take a look at Cohere, and so I'm going to go ahead and sign into Cohere. What I really like about Cohere is that they have a very generous free tier, so you can get started with them very quickly. And I've already created an account before, so I'm just connecting here. And so now I'm in my account. Obviously, we could attach billing and usage here. I do not plan on doing that here today unless I need to do so. But we're going to make our way over to the API keys. And you can see I already have a key generated from prior. I think I'm still using this key, so I'm going to actually leave it around as I have somebody building something out for our bootcamp with it. But I'm going to go over to GitHub GenAI Essentials, and I might already have an environment already running here. So I do. So I'm going to go ahead and just open that in the browser. Of course, if you do not, then you will have to launch one in GitHub Codespaces or use whatever you like here today. And I'm going to create myself a new trial key. And so this will just be example key. And so we'll go ahead and generate out that key there. And so now we have our example key, which I think we can look at any time. So that's totally fine. And so we're getting this environment spun up here. But yeah, Cohere has its own playground. So you go over to here and they have a playground. So we have chat, classify, embed, and generate, which you do not use anymore. But I like their playground because it really does give you a lot of quick examples very quickly on how you can utilize it. On the right-hand side, you can see they have tool use. They have connections to other, or connectors to other things like doing web search, which is very nice. You can provide it the response format so that you can get back structured JSON if you provide a JSON schema file. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff that could be done here, but again, just want to show you how to work with this programmatically very quickly. So if our environment is spun up, which it is, I'm going to make a new folder over here, and we're going to call this one Claude, or not Claude, Cohere. I apologize. And we'll go ahead and we'll make a new file here called basic.ipynb, and I'm going to make a new .env file here called .env, and then I'll make a .env example, and then we'll make another one here called .getignore. In the .getignore, I want to ignore .env, so we'll go ahead and do that. If I have yet to do so, did I commit the stuff from last time? I did. But we'll go over to here, we'll add some code. I'm going to assume that it's pip install cohere, so I'm going to go and say install. I'm going to do -q cohere. We'll also want python.env. I'm going to want to make sure that's a percentage. I'm going to make sure that I want to bring in from this one this here. So I'm going to copy this over as we want to import the .env into our file here. And so now I just need some Cohere code. So if I go to chat, I wonder if they have, yep, they have code up here in the top right corner. We're going to go ahead and grab this example, and I'm going to go back over to here. I'm going to paste it in. I need to grab my API key from here, so I'm going to go ahead and copy it. I can click the copy button. And it looks like it's not saying what it's supposed to be, so we could just hard code a value here. I'm going to go ahead and paste this in, and it's going to be called my Cohere API key, and that's what I'm going to call it. I'm not sure if that's what it's supposed to be implicitly called. Sometimes we can look that up. I don't always care to look it up. And so in here, they're saying this is where you load your key. So I'm going to do os environ. So I'm going to have to also include in here import os. But we'll say os environ dot get. This will be Cohere API key. So that will bring that over here. Obviously, it wants us to have a message here. This is set up for streaming, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with streaming. We can absolutely do that. It looks like we already have some chat history in here. So I'm going to go ahead and bring this on down a little bit. I'm not sure if this is their older API, because I'm pretty sure that they standardized on utilizing, like there's a newer format. So I'm going to go ahead and say Cohere API, because that kind of looks a little bit old to me. Right? And if I go to their docs, I just want some examples, API reference. So it says chat version 2. Right? So I go here. And notice it says messages. So this is really what we want. I mean, we can obviously do streaming, but this is actually what we want, because I think that maybe in their portal, it's a little bit out of date, which is totally fine. It also looks like we have some variants here if we're trying to do different things like documents or tool use. The documentation is really, really good for this platform. And we're going to go over here. I'm just going to replace this with this version. This is using Command R+, which is totally fine. It already has information for us in here. I don't know what it uses as a default to load the environment variable. So I'm just kind of looking for that here. Just a moment. Sorry, Baker was asking me for my baster. He's making a turkey. But anyway, I'm back. And so, yeah, somewhere in here, there must be an indicator in terms of what the nvar is for it. So just look up Cohere nvar, because maybe there is one. I mean, theirs is calling it that. So maybe I have guessed correctly, and it will actually automatically load that one in. So I'm just going to assume that that is correct. And we'll go ahead and we'll just run this. And then we'll run the next one here, and then we'll run the next one here. And so we do get an output. Yep, and we get a response. So there'd be like a little bit more work that we'd have to do to format this response, but yeah, that's as simple as it is working with the Cohere API. And again, it has a generous free tier, which is really nice. I'm going to go ahead and delete our example key as I do not need it any longer. I'm going to go ahead, we're going to add this here and just say Cohere API. And so yeah, that would be a very good one to utilize if, again, you have no spend. This one is very generous. The other thing is that their models, you can also download them from Hugging Face. So they have them in another format. I'm not sure if they're, I wouldn't call them open source, but they're openly available to utilize and infer locally. So I don't think there are limits based on that. You can use as much as you want, but obviously for commercial use, it'd be a different story. So it's nice that you can have a model that you could use serverlessly or download and utilize it as much as you need to until you need to put it into production. But there you go.